Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here, so I apologize. I started working today and forgot to start my camera. So, been doing hay all day so far, and that's kind of the plan, and likely all we're going to really have time to do is starting to lay out. So, I basically windrowed all of the hay on both fields. That took me about 3 hours, and now I am baling the hay, and I have not gotten to field 11 yet. This is the first field I'm baling on. I just luckily decided to make sure that all my data recording stuff was working, and found out I had forgotten to hit the record button, so I apologize for what you've missed, but the intent was because tomorrow I'm likely going to need to harvest wheat. The wheat hasn't hit yet. So in talking to the neighbors, what I did determine is that, yes, once I TED, I can immediately collect. So it was dark yesterday, so I would have certainly not done it then anyway, but just for future reference, like as soon as it turns this color and it's turned over, it's ready to go. So I'm used to having a drying situation, but they tell me you don't need to do that, and obviously that's bearing out at this point. So I think, like a lot of farmers, I think I may end up leaving these bales on the field for now, because it's not like I have to move them. So we'll see. I mean, I can always collect them later. It's just a field of grass, so it's not as if I'm going to be going through here in a harvester. But certainly before I mow again or something, I would have to do that. But what I am going to do is what I had said. So I wasn't expecting there to be a lot of video anyway. It's just you kind of miss the windrowing, but I'm sure we'll do windrowing again on the farm, and you'll get to see it then. But, you know, we're windrowing, we're baling, nothing too exciting beyond this, and obviously we're just trying to make some progress toward the VIP orders, and the hay is one of those things, as it would be with TMR mixers and so forth. So I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to get that done, but then I'm going to include and just jump to next month and include that all in the episode here. Alright, so I have started working on the wheat harvest. I began about 7. Starting a nasty habit, which is I keep forgetting to record my activity. And I think I am, and then I realize I'm not. So, obviously I've done a little bit of this field. My plan is going to be get this done, then pause in the harvest, and cultivate and plant the barley, so that I have everything going as quickly as possible for finishing up the level 2 VIP orders. But as I talked about at the start of this episode with working on the hay, you know, I was going to then jump in and get the next day done and kind of combine things, because the hay was just the hay. So you can see the bales over there on the other field. I think there's about 14 on that field. That's the smaller one. So we have tons of hay. We obviously have a good amount of straw over there. So I am deciding not to put a straw swath out and work on more baling. Because at this point I think we're good for now, and that will just simplify our lives a bit. So I'm going to get this done, and I will then head on back when I'm ready to start cultivating. So the other thing I had noticed is the chickens are getting very, very low on feed again. So I'm thinking I'm going to use a portion of this crop, it may be a bigger portion than I would like, to feed the chickens. So we're going to end up at, looks like, what, 17,000. I think field 10's a little bit bigger. So otherwise, I think we would be okay for going ahead and filling the need in level 3 on the wheat, but I've got to do something to feed the chickens. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and get the harvester off the field and go work on getting this field turned around. I'm going to pull in here a bit because the harvester's just going to do its thing, but for now we're going to stop. Alright, so we can see we've filled up our eggs again. I don't want to put any more on the trailer, however, because then I'm going to have too many for delivery, and in case I need them later, I don't want to assume that I'm not going to have a need in a later level that I need to store up for. So at this point, we've got about 1,300 of barley, so I've got a couple options as far as the chickens. The barley's obviously going to grow, but the barley's going to take several days to grow. So I need to be realistic about that. But, you know, I can use barley to feed the chickens too, so I could just use enough wheat. Right, starting to cultivate. But what I was saying is I could use just enough wheat to kind of get me to where I think the barley will be ready. Now again, trying to do that is always a little bit dangerous, because if I misestimate, you know, then I've got a challenge that I can't feed the chickens, and they're gonna go hungry for a bit, which obviously we'd prefer to avoid. So, just running a couple headlands up here as normal, because then we'll go ahead and run across, or not across, down. I'm going across now, which is what made me say that. But that gives me some room to turn around, is the more important thing. And then, you know, we can get this field cultivated and then get it planted. So let me see if I head toward this end of the field where it's going to line me up. Oh, I thought I had changed it. Clearly I haven't. Alright, there we go. So that will get us down there. And then we should be able to run, although the field may peel away before we get to the edge there. Well, I think that may be the last move, so we might be okay. And obviously we have that piece that moves out. So we've got a little bit of work here. I'm assuming that's going to take me at least a couple hours. So I'm going to go ahead and work on that and get this cultivated, and then we'll pop back here when it is time to start planting, just to spend a little bit of time together on that. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so I'm back here on the field. Now I am planting my barley. You know, definitely. So running a couple passes here again to give myself just a little bit of a path about for turning around, and then again just gonna go ahead and plant this field. I did not refill the seeds. I think I'll be okay. It's a smaller field, so it should work. I ended up pulling the trailer a bit, so I am going to have to be careful. because I ended up doing that as I was pulling into the field. It caught on the back of the planter. Not sure if I think I'm okay there, but yeah, I won't be okay here, so I'm going to have to run up a little bit more there, but that's just part of the work. I can't always line up exactly as planned, but doing okay. It's only 10:40 in the morning, so we're certainly going to have enough time to get this thing planted. Again, getting fertilization is not that incredibly important at this point. Whoops. Alright, so I don't want to go that way. Again, when I'm planting, I usually go 3 rows over. So I think this will be, yeah, 0. So then I want to go to row 3, and because the other way, 3 rows over, takes me off the field. Alright. So, yeah, what I was saying then, I'll get this done, and I don't need to fertilize, again, just before it finishes growing is the target. So I can wait until I figure out what I'm doing on the field next to me. I'm thinking right now that that's probably just going to be replanted in wheat to make up for the fact that I'm likely going to use half the crop to feed the chickens and have to make up for it by replanting. So, but right now I got to get the barley in, and then I will head back to the harvesting. So I will see you in a bit. Alright, so pretty happy with the result that I've gotten. Just afternoon, and we're basically finished with the planting that we need. So this is the final step to getting the second level of VIP orders done, finally. So I think we're going to have, more and more challenges as we go along. It's definitely been interesting kind of seeing how this all works from the standpoint of, I think I initially thought, because I was able to fill those first orders so quickly, that at least for the first several levels, that it would actually be quite fast, and it's starting to not be the case. So I'm going to go ahead and jump back into the harvester, and we'll continue on from there. Alright, so heading over here, and going to get the wheat done. But the good news is we've got that barley in, and that will put us in a great spot to be able to get that level of VIP orders finally done. So certainly a lot longer than I expected. And I think we're going to have more challenges with level 3 simply because of feeding the chickens. So, and when we start feeding cows, it's going to get more complicated. So we're going to have some excitement and challenges on the farm, I think, as we go forward. Alright, so we'll see what we get off this field. Looks like it's harvesting at about the same yield if we look at the yield map in the mini-map. So, just as I said, I think this is a little bit wider field. Can't imagine it's going to be a massive difference. Might be another 500 or 1,000 liters, probably at best, is what I'm thinking, but we'll see how everything pans out. Whoops. Just trying to lock in my GPS. I believe this moves over a bit here as far as this field, so that's why I started with it over. I probably want to run a headland down here too, at least one, and that will help give me some good positioning in both areas. So the canola has a lot more growth as far as time, I've noticed, than other crops. So that one's going to take a bit to get up. I think the oat might actually be ready about the same time the canola is. Might be a day or two off, but given that the canola was in even before we planted it and already sprouted, it's going to be interesting. Again, since I need to get back, I will run across again. Just makes sense. Well, that was a little loud. Hopefully it didn't startle you as much as it startled me, but I'm sure it did. But got in there. That's another thing that did exist in FS19 is I think there was a mod to disable camera moves like that. I haven't really looked specifically for it, but I would expect I would have run across it. And the mod's worth noting, but do not recall seeing it, so I'm just kind of assuming it's not there. I might be wrong. Alright, already half full, but I think you've got a good start and a good view of where we're at on the field. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep on moving along here. I'm sure it's going to take a little bit of time, and we'll check back in when we're done. Alright, so if not for feeding the chickens, we've already got enough to fill the level 3 VIP order when it comes due. So there we go. 37,000. And we need 35. So I don't think we're going to have enough if we just give the chickens a couple thousand. But I'm going to try to do a little bit of that, but I think my best bet is simply to replant the field in wheat and assume that, you know, we're just going to have to use a little bit more of this to help the chickens along here. Because I know at this point I got about 20,000 wheat off that field. So as long as I don't put more than that into the silo here, I think we should be good. But you know, putting in basically 2,400 is gonna get us about a day. Is kind of what we're seeing, maybe 2 days, and we need more time than that. So I'm gonna go ahead and for now I'll probably just go down to around 20,000. So I'll put about 17,000 in, and that means I just need to get 15,000 off the field, because if I can get enough that I can get the barley off the field, so yeah, maybe I'll just do 10,000 just to try that. So let me stop it at about 27,000. A little bit more. Alright, we'll stop that. And you can see it's still like literally nothing in the feed, so I definitely need, and it just went down because you know, because we crossed over the hour. So basically, you know, they eat a little bit every hour, which, you know, obviously they're chickens, they eat. But just any of the animals, you know, all the things are consumed at the top of the hour. So we'll go ahead here, get this in the silo so it's stored. If I need more to feed them for some reason, I'll be able to do that. But in the interim, I also have, you know, basically less than 10,000 necessary to come off the field to be able to meet the order. So that will work. And I was going to maybe try to see if I could squeak by, but that's how I got myself, well, I didn't really get myself in trouble that way with the barley because, you know, I planted the whole field. I didn't know what the yield would be, but, you know, pushing anything further than that is definitely just going to be a challenge. So we'll get all this wheat in there and get it stored up. And then we can go ahead and use barley for the next set of feed. You know, hoping we get 17,000 liters of barley or so off that field. That'll give us another 15,000 liters of grain to feed the chickens. So you can see, you know, the hay rolls here. So looking at our VIP orders, you know, we have no barley needed after we fill this. So everything else, you know, can be driven to feed the chickens. But that will give us a plan for certain. It's just, you know, now we're kind of in a wait and see, and obviously we've got the challenges with the chicken eggs as well. So I want to go ahead and just not sure I'm going to be able to get to the trailer by this area here. Well, I might be able to. It's going to be tight though. Yeah, we'll see. I might need to, like, pull into the field. I'm not quite sure. But I'll put this on here, and then I will maybe bang it around a little bit to get it to angle differently. That might be the best way to do it. So we're done with this harvest. It's only 2:30 in the afternoon. So I am going to turn around and I am going to replant that other field that I just harvested in wheat. Obviously that means I need to cultivate it and get it planted. So I'm going to get that done, and then we'll just pop back in and kind of summarize what we've got for the day. So I'll see you in a bit. As you can see, I had to go get some more seeds, so I did finally empty the planter. I'm definitely looking at seeing if I can change this out. I certainly would love a direct seed planter so I don't have to cultivate separately. But I ended up, like, botching the field again because it, like, seems to keep turning on the create fields work, and I don't understand why. Part of the problem is because of the power harrow and everything, there's so many things in the menu that key doesn't always appear in the help menu, so I can't, like, tell what it's set to until I realize it's suddenly expanded the field. So it is not fun, not what I want to be doing, but in any event, you know, as we're getting more money, that may be an upgrade that I look for as well, but we'll see. Alright, so at this point the chickens are below 12,000. You know, obviously we fed them earlier, so it's been several hours, certainly. I think 4 hours or so. But yeah, they're a little under 200 an hour, I think. So we'll see if this gets us far enough, or if we're going to have to give up a little bit more of our whatchamacallit, I know I have to fold this to, or actually no, I have to have it unfolded, that's right. I was going to say I have to fold it to, there we go. So just as a reminder, we've got barley in the field, we've got wheat in the field, we've got oat in the field, we've got canola in the field. So we don't have any sorghum. We ended up giving away all our sorghum. So I'm going to have to plant that somewhere to finish level 3. But, you know, and then we'll obviously see how we do with oat. So maybe that will take care of it. We already have enough eggs. We've got more than enough eggs. So we're doing pretty well. We definitely, again, did a nice full day. And we are making some great progress here in Riverview. So definitely enjoying my experience here. Hoping you're enjoying following along. And I will see you next time.